Just further afield, South Sudan's President Salva Kiir has pledged not to return the young nation to war as the country marked 10 years of troubled independence with little cause to rejoice. At midnight on July the 9th, 2011, celebrations erupted as the world's newest nation was born, and the people of South Sudan cheered the end of a decades-long struggle for statehood from Sudan. But just 2 years later, South Sudan was at war with itself, in which close to 400,000 people died before a ceasefire was declared in 2018.
We have managed to cease hostilities and maintain for nearly two years and 7 months the ceasefire under the expensive peace agreement which we signed in September 2018. The holding of cessation of hostilities is because of the new spirit. With this renewed spirit, the revitalized transitional government of national unity remains committed to the full implementation of the revitalized peace agreement. This commitment is demonstrated by the efforts we have exerted. These two priority areas will stabilize our country and ensure economic growth through increase in production, leading to socio-economic development.
27 people died last week during pro-democracy protests that shook the southern African kingdom of Eswatini. This is according to a top cabinet minister who says that King Mswati III is deeply concerned about the violence. But local civil society and opposition groups have claimed that up to 60 civilians were killed. The United Nations has voiced alarm at the deadly unrest and called for an independent investigation into all alleged rights abuses. Eswatini, previously called Swaziland, is a tiny landlocked state of 1.3 million people, sandwiched between South Africa and Mozambique.
The first one is to convey the government of the Kingdom of Eswatini's heartfelt condolences to the families of the people that have unfortunately passed away, during the events of last week. Secondly, to confirm that 27 people were certified dead, and in relation to the events of last week. I think there's an attempt to characterize what happened last week as peaceful protests that were then met with disproportionate force, yet maybe there might be isolated cases of the police force and the army maybe using more force in the situation than was required. And again, if that happened, the government of the Kingdom of Eswatini will take that very seriously and take full responsibility. There were a lot of foreign agents that were working on this and bringing in money into the country and paying people to carry out this particular operation and mobilizing, online and on certain websites. We wanted to isolate those websites because we saw that as a terror threat and as a security threat.
More than 6 months after the deadly U.S. Capitol insurrection, authorities on Friday began the process of dismantling fencing and barricades surrounding the iconic Washington building, although some access restrictions will remain in place. Personnel were seen removing bars connecting sections of the 2.4 meter black metal fencing that had been erected in the days following the violent unrest at the citadel of American democracy. Removal of the fence itself was to begin early Saturday, with the deconstruction operation expected to last through the weekend. Thousands of National Guard troops were stationed there following the attack, and a wide security boundary complete with razor wire turned the Capitol into a fortress for months. An outer perimeter was dismantled in March, but the fencing dismantled in March, but the fencing surrounding the Capitol Hill, traffic detours and a ban on visitors has irritated lawmakers from both parties.